Welcome back to One Piece Anime Re-Review Part 32C. This one I'm covering episodes 543 to 554. Now, I forgot to mention this in my last video for the series, where here's the thing. When I originally watched the dub 3 years ago, I actually ran out of dub episodes at 539. That's where I ran out. And since then, I have basically continued watching the dub a couple times. The first time, basically resuming from 540, and then going straight to 574, which is up with the rest of Fishman arc. And then recently, when they had the previous release of the recent dub episodes, going from 575 to 587. That was most recent when they released. And that was like a few months ago. Yep. Now, these episodes finish at the flashback, the start of it, where you have first couple episodes where we have the assassination of Queen Orihime. Yes, she is assassinated while giving a speech. Now, prior to that, she had, a celestial dragon appeared at Fishman Island, and I'll get to more about him right now. His name is Mongrid, I think his name is, where he is acting like a traditional celestial dragon. When he sees some of the fishermen pirates, some pirates, he says, oh, you're my slaves. Come back to me. He's like, no, we're not coming back to you. And more of an instant, she, of course, stopped him, tackled him, and despite the fact she briefly held hostage, basically we see a young Princess Shirahoshi, where seeing her mother in danger, she cries, and then accidentally summons, and of course Hody Jones is witnessing this, she summons a group of Sea Kings. Yep, where they tear up Mongrid's ship and apparently convince them, oh yeah, probably should let him go. And the Queen's like, okay, Aladdin, that's the name of the doctor of the Sun Pirates. Okay, I want you to treat him, and then treat me. Okay? Now, I should also point out, though, that just prior to this incident, now, first we had the death of Fishman Tiger. That was the first thing that happened here. Yeah, they transported the little girl, Koala, back to her family. And, of course, she thanked him for transporting her. Call him Uncle Tiger. He, of course, doesn't mind it at all. And then he's no more than probably about less than half a mile as a village when he's surrounded by a bunch of Marines led by Admiral Strawberry. As far as I know, I don't remember this guy appearing in President. I'm not sure what happened to him. He didn't appear in the Marineford arc, so it must be a new character. So, he, of course, is ambushed and basically severely wounded. The Luck of Jime comes in, rescues him, and, then he, of course, dies on the new ship because their first ship sank. So, they stole a Navy ship and they went away. And despite the fact he could get a blood transfusion, because none of the crew basically got the same blood, and the only people who could transfuse blood from him is a human, but he declines because it turns out that his long voyage he was on, turns out he wasn't on a voyage. He was on a voyage partially, I think he was captured and sold as a slave until he escaped. And then, of course, eventually when he went back and freed all the slaves. 3 of whom just happened to be Hancock and her sisters. Zenderson, and I think her name is, I remember the third sister's name. So, of course, he doesn't know them. He just basically says, oh yeah, they're 3 slaves. Of course, he had the flashback of basically him when he liberated Mary Joie, the slaves. That was not long after that we had, with Death Fishman Tiger. Fishman Tiger dies, so Arlong, yes, Arlong, goes out, basically wrecks a bunch of ships. Now, this, of course, we all see an early version of Kizaru, though here is known as Basaru. That's actually, believe it or not, I think that's his family name. For some reason, when he became when he became an actual admiral, he apparently changed his name to Kizaru. For some reason. Also, he doesn't look that much different than he does in present day. I think the only big change with him, he changes his clothes. He does look a little bit younger, and he wears a hat. Like the hats you see the government agents wear. But here's the thing. In present day, Kizaru doesn't wear a hat at all. I think at present he must be in his 50s. He looks like he's probably in his mid to late 30s, I'd say. And he's the one who basically defeats Arlong after Arlong beat a bunch of... He basically sank 2 Navy ships and beat a bunch of other Marines. And then he surrenders and basically kind of tells a lie what happened with Fishman Tiger, where he died. And the lie is that humans died in blood transfusion. And Jinbei's like, that's partially true. He actually refused himself. And then was like, not long after that, Jinbei was off position of warlord. And he accepted. So he arranged it where all his men who were basically former slaves, got amnesty for being escapees, so they can all go home. No problem. People who didn't want to stay. And he used the position really well, where he not only also used it to help improve relations between fishmen and humans. So you can kind of say he's one of the warlords where the power does go to their head, and he also took the time to free Arlong, which caused the Sun Pirate to split. After their brawl, Arlong took his men, which include Hachin, the guy with the big lips, and whoever else was part of his crew. I think one was Amanda Ray, who was voiced by Patrick Stoltz. So his group went off in one direction. We also see an early version of that gang, which made up of 3 people who showed up in the Savoy Archipelago arc. Yeah, we see how they're formed. There's basically 3 guys from the Sun Pirates, and they're split. Of these 3 crews, the Sun Pirates are still active to the present day, though they were not in this arc. They only see in flashback. You don't see them again. Here's the strange thing about it. After the flashback, next time you see the Sun Pirates is actually not until Whole Cake. That's next time we see them, where Aladdin has married one of Big Mom's daughters, a woman who's twice the size of he is, and she loves him deeply, and she acts like a traditional housewife. This wife being married to a pirate who also is the ship's doctor. Yep. As for the other groups, the Arlong Pirates, minus Hachin, were later arrested, and they're all currently in jail. What jail they're at, I don't know, because they clearly were not impelled down. Yeah, if they weren't impelled down, Luffy would have ran into them, just like he ran into Crocodile, his top 3 agents, and a few other people. But in the case of the Arlong Pirates, no, they don't really say exactly where they were sent. They could have said any place, but they don't really say. As for the other gang of pirates, well, after one brief appearance at the start of Sabo Archipelago where they got easily beaten by the Straw Hats, they never physically, now, aside from this flashback, they don't appear in the series ever again. It's unknown what happened to them. It's assumed they could have been arrested at some point. It's possible, but nothing really much happened with them. Yes. And it was not long after the thing with the Celestial Dragon where after he spent some healing, he got his own mask back because he was asked for a mask because apparently he doesn't like the air of Fishman now. And eventually he was given a brand new ship to go back to Mary Joie, and the Queen went with him. He's like, okay, fine. And apparently she was gone for a whole week worrying the whole country, and she came back with a letter that proves the fact that they're improving relations between humans and fishmen, which is great. And it's like not long after this is when we have the assassination. Now, she is shot in a square, which is the very same square that the Straw Hats and Bashima are going to fight the Fishman Pirates. More into that. So, of course, Jinbei, of course, is a warlord. He, of course, hears the shot. Of course, he tries to run to see where it is, and it's like, and some of the pirates like, so somebody the warlord was like, oh crap, he was a human, and then Hody Jones Poe basically showed him off on display. The human shot her. Yeah, they later revealed this is actually Hody Jones who did this. Yeah, he confesses a little bit later that he was the one who shot Orihime because he didn't like the direction that the kingdom was going. So, shooting Orihime reignited people's hatred for humans. So, yeah, as for their perspective, why the human did it, they don't know because Hody killed him. Yep, Hody killed him. And then they had, of course, Vanderbeek who sees Sarah Hoshi, who apparently he touched her in the arm. Like, apparently she fell in love with a 6-year-old. And being very creepy about it. Sending her love letters. And the king receives like, what is this? He's receiving them. It's like, okay, you guys are staying here. You're not going to the funeral. But lucky enough that Fubogoshi, despite the fact he was not able to go, he basically activates the video transponder snail during his own mother's funeral and says that him and his siblings will continue their mother's dream of improving relations between humans and Fishman Island, which their father actually agrees with the idea, though before Kuyorihime dies, she basically says, don't hold a grudge against the person who really did this, which that's later brought up in the other episodes. So, and of course, Jinbei finished the story, but Luffy was sleeping during it. Yeah, he slept out the whole thing. So they briefly fight. Look how Robin stops him, and of course, Jinbei, Luffy, and Sanji got basically bruised. So they come up with a very interesting plan. They explain this in episode 554 what their plan is. Okay, because the king has been taken to the square, so Hachin is staying with Kami. Kami is taking care of him. And of course, well, Luffy is going to be riding in the belly of the shark, who's Shirahoshi's pet. So Hoshi is going to ride with Jinbei over to there, and they're going to basically capture on purpose. And there's more about the shark in a minute. So, Luffy, of course, hides in his stomach, and before they even get there, the princes arrive, beat up the Sea Kings that the new Fishman pirates have. Also, Hordy takes more of the energy steroids, which makes him age to an older guy where he's humongously muscly. He's got a six-pack now. Despite the fact he's also got a scar on his belly from Zoro. Yes, Zoro did that to him, and he still has it throughout the rest of the arc. When the arc first started, he didn't have that at all. He did have a scar on his belly, but not in the form of basically what Zoro did to him. Also, apparently, scars can basically take the appearance of look like they have stitches. I thought that was kind of weird. Yeah, and it's also like that for Zoro as well. So, after they beat the Sea Kings, the rest of the new Fisherman Pirate officers take the energy steroids and easily beat the princess. So they're basically all put up for display, meant to be executed. And then when Jinbei shows up, basically, of course, Hody confesses that it was him. He was the one who killed Queen Orihime. And of course, Sahoshi basically lets out that, yeah, she knew. And he's like, how did you know? Mokaboshi, of course, she mentions that the shark, basically, her pet told her a few years after the incident. And he's like, really? He's like, you know, you could have yelled at any time you wanted to at that point, but you didn't. And holding it in, of course, she said the reason why it did was to hold a grudge. So basically, she was honoring her mother's wishes. He, of course, Hody Jones thinks from his perspective, she was being an idiot. And then, of course, after firing a bunch of water shots, yeah, though fishermen, when they fire water from their hands, it actually hurts. If you water people, it does nothing, but fishermen do it, yeah, it causes people to bleed. So, he hits the king, he hits the rest of the princes. King gets knocked down. Hody takes out a sword, he's about to execute the king, and then, bump, bump. Like, what's going with the shark? And eventually, of course, something gets spit out of the shark's mouth. It's Luffy in his second gear. And he punches Hody and hooks him right through the mountain. Also, before this, Madame Sherry shows up. This is when we reveal she's actually Arlong's sister. And shows Hody about the vision that she saw. That it's going to be Straw Hat destroys Fishman Island, not you. And his response is, throw Warshire's side. But she's perfectly fine. She's never going to survive. Does anybody know how beautiful she is? I mean, Madame Sherry is smoking hot. Like, oh my gosh, this woman is so beautiful. And she's quite big. But here's kind of the strange thing about this. Despite the fact she's Arlong's sister, as far as I remember, I don't think she ever interacted with Nami. I would think that this would happen, but not that I can think of. Probably at some point, probably later episode. But as far as I remember, these two never interact. Despite the fact that Nami hates her brother's guts. for killing her mother. Well, her adopted mother. She doesn't know who her actual parents are. And so, Luffy, of course, is like entire of course. Then we have like, oh yeah, we planned for this because Luffy would follow the plan, which they explained this, that hide in Michelo's stomach, while the rest of the Straw Hats go to Regular Palace, free basically like Frankie, Sanji, and basically Frankie and Sanji go to the palace, free Usopp, Brook, and Zoro from their cage, which of course Papa could really free them, and take the ship and basically fly over there. Of course, Nami used Mirage Tempo to camouflage herself and took the time to steal the Celestial Dragon's letter and stole the keys to the royal family and get everybody unlocked thanks to Robin. And then, of course, with the Straw Hats all there. And fighting alongside Jinbei, of course, the crowd's happy. Because according to Jinbei, if Straw Hat by himself, from their perspective, it's like a human bullying a Fishman. But fighting alongside Boss Jinbei, it's like, yeah, they're getting excited for this. And it's about to go well. And the first thing Luffy does, of course, Horty mentions, oh yeah, I'm going to be king of the pirates. And he walks up, uses Haki, and knocks out 50,000 soldiers out of 100,000. It was like, Luffy, and of course, no one says, Luffy, what the hell? Leave people us for the fight. Leave people us for the fight. Yeah, he says, I don't care what you think of this country, but as for King of the Pirates, you have to go through me first. Which I thought was so good, the fact that he did that. Great one to end episode 554. Fantastic. Looking forward to basically discussing the next 15 episodes, 555 to 569, which covers this whole epic brawl. Jinbei and the Straw Hats versus 50,000 new fisherman pirates. And a bunch of captured human pirates. Okay? Great stuff. Okay, so that's a particular view. I got two more videos coming today. Next will be a comment corner, and the other one will be our review of the newest episode released dubbed for Fire Force. Yes. But until this next video, bye.